Hi, Carol. Thank you for calling.
Yep.
This must be so bewildering for you. We feel like we're doing all the talking here. Are there any questions you might have for us, Carol?
I guess to start with, what the
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the latest episode of JKL Media Reviews, where we're reviewing the series Pluribus, and we're up to episode 7, which is called The Gap, and maybe we'll have a little bit of a discussion why we think it was called that. But anyhow, to help me with this discussion, I have my usual co-host with me, and that would include Jesse. Hello, sir.
Hello.
And of course, the queen of podcasts, Karen.
Stop it. That is not true. Hi, everyone.
So this is an interesting episode because last episode we talked about we would like to see Manousos make the journey to Carol. And how would he go about that? Would he actually drive? And we find out, yes, he will drive. And he seems to be just as stubborn a character as Carol is. We'll get into that a bit, but let's start with Carol and her drive back. And where do we think her head's at, Karen, on the drive back? And because she does some, I guess you could say nasty things, maybe.
Sure.
We'll see what you think about that.
I think she is pushing the limits with them. I think that this is her way of getting back at them for leaving her alone, even though that's probably what she wanted. I don't think she knows what she wants at this point. She's on this. We talked about Don Quixote when we were talking about The Expanse earlier today. And I think this is her tilting at windmills almost. She is poking the bear to try and see what she can get away with, but she's also on this mission to, I don't know, to get them to give her more info. But at this point, I feel like she's just testing them, trying to push buttons and say that, hey, I'm going to get you back. I'm going to make you do these things for me. You say you want to give me everything. Let's see how far that goes. I loved her little path back. And I think that Manousos is maybe more stubborn than Carol at this point. And it's almost like a flip side thing to the two stories where she is taking whatever she can take from them and he is rejecting everything that he can reject from them.
Jesse.
Yeah, I think Karen has a sense of freedom because
Carol?
now Carol
Karen.
has the sense of, yes, Karen has, there we go again. Carol has a sense of freedom that they aren't going to be able to take her over. So therefore, she doesn't have to worry as much about the fallout. And she has accepted this new reality, including, and she also is being a little bit of a jerk, right? I said I wanted ice cold, not lukewarm, do better next time. I did think it was very cool. The gas station had non-edible stuff left, right? I assume that people, I don't know if magically you no longer have a tobacco addiction though, but they didn't take anything. They just, all the food stuff were gone. So I did like the idea they brought her one Gatorade. Like you would have thought there would have been a little ice chest and I would have, hey, I need some beef jerky too, or whatever road trip food you want. And I just really like this idea that she also never said, as Lou mentioned a couple episodes ago, can you please shorten the message or at least have a push 1 if you know the name of the party you want to reach, is just kind of. So yeah, I think she feels amazing that she doesn't have anything. They're leaving her alone. So life is great. They've said, we will give you anything we can. She's taken advantage of that. And so she's just singing along.
Literally.
Take a drink. Yeah, take a drink, guys. But once again, on the official podcast, they mentioned, I guess there's a TV show called Alone or something where they drop you in a
Mm-hmm.
wilderness. I don't know if Naked and Alone, but this is, and they
No, it's
said,
different.
yeah, most people start singing to themselves because they're tired of the quiet. And
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
that's where they came up with this idea. And they had to, obviously, what songs would she sing and what would we clear? And they made it very clear. They at a point she doesn't say, and I feel fine,
Mm-hmm.
because didn't want to push. They wanted us to keep thinking, how is she feeling? So
Right.
I love the road trip and everything good about that. I also like that she upgraded her car.
Yeah, me
Not
too.
by choice, but by
Can I
necessity.
can I give the soundtrack of this episode real quick?
Sure.
Oh,
Right up top.
please.
Tarzan Boy was the first song that we hear. It plays in the gas station. Stars and Stripes Forever, which shows up a couple of times. I'm All Right, of course, the theme from Caddyshack, which I loved hearing.
Yeah, me
Um,
too.
Born to Be Wild by Steppenwolf. Carol sings it while driving home from golfing in her new car. Hot in Here, which I loved. It's getting hot in here. Carol sings it in the hot springs. Georgia on My Mind, which I thought was fantastic when she goes to the Georgia O'Keeffe Museum. I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor, which it plays at the restaurant, a Muzak version of it. Esperanza by Hermanas Gutierrez when Manousos starts the engine and after he fills his car up with gas, sorry. You've Got Another Thing Coming by Judas Priest. Yeah, Judas Priest. She plays the CD while smashing windows and golfing. That was a fantastic scene. And Let the Sunshine In by Maro is it's a Spanish version of the song Aquarius Let the Sunshine In at the end of the episode when Manousos is getting help. So yeah, a lot of stuff. And of course they replay Stars and Stripes. That's the soundtrack to this episode.
Awesome. Thanks. That's and a very important to list it for this episode, I think, as well, because it's
Yeah.
representing Carol's frame of mind, I guess
Yep.
Yeah.
It
you could say.
changes
Yeah.
when her mood
I
changes. Yeah.
I found the Carol's half of the episode interesting character study in that she's like Jesse said, I think she's initially elated that she won't be absorbed, but as the episode goes on, she's becoming more desperate for contact with other people. She's trying to create that illusion of being part of something else, of some sort of society with the singing and all the crazy stuff she's doing with the fireworks and that. I especially liked it when she was howling with the wolves. I thought that was a really telling moment. And then they don't show what she paints on the ground, but in the end, we see that it's come back, and then Zosia shows up at the end of the episode. Now, I'm curious as to whether she's still part of the hive mind or not. This will be an interesting turning point in the series, whether or not she is. I'm hoping that she is, but chances are she's not.
I think
Uh,
she is, but yeah, we'll see. How
you
about
think
you, Karen?
you think she is?
I think she's still part of the
Or
hive.
okay,
And
okay.
Karen, what do you think?
Mm, it's so hard. I think she is.
Okay. Okay. So we broke the tie. All right, we'll see.
We'll see. By the end of the episode, she's even though she's maintaining her independence and will fiercely guard it, no man has an island. Like she needs to have contact with some other people, which is difficult in her situation, which makes the other half of the episode, the Manousos part of the episode, very interesting because it will be an interesting dynamic to see those two characters come together because they are so much alike and what they say about people coming together, it usually doesn't turn out. So
Mhm.
I'm really interested to see how those two are going to get along when if they if and when they do get reunited, whether it's going to be in this season probably be the last shot of the season, him stepping or knocking on her door. We'll see. So let's talk about Manousos. And Jesse, I'll let you go first this time. Just go right through the episode. It's an interesting episode from that perspective because if you go through both storylines, there's not a lot there in terms of what we usually talk about. Like we just did an Expanse, and that one was multiple storylines layered with a lot of characters in that, which is typically how most shows go. And this one is really operating with a different set of rules generally because it's so focused on Carol most of the time, and then we get these ancillary characters that come in and out of the story as need be. But it looks like Manousos potentially could be around for quite a while. So it's interesting to see where we're going. But anyhow, let's just talk about the whole episode. And for those of us who did not get the subtitles during certain scenes,
Yeah.
maybe you could flesh that out as well.
Yeah. So we'll talk about Carol's ending later,
Sure.
like the emotional ending and everything. Okay, good. Yeah, I love this comparison that Carol has now accepted the fact the reality is, and she is comfortable using the hive, the others, to make her life better. And how do you say his name again?
Manousos.
Manousos.
Manousos is totally against everything.
Yeah.
I don't know if either of you has siphoned gas before.
Yep.
I
No.
have.
Yep. It's not a
Uh,
great taste.
it is not a great taste. Usually you siphon gas so that you can get, at least in
Your
my
mouth away.
case, to put it in the lawnmower. You would put it in again so you could put gas in the lawnmower so you could cut grass. And yes, you tried to time it great where you saw the gas coming, but you got as little in your mouth as possible. Yeah, not a good experience. And I'm watching him walk and you realize he's got to walk all the way and find a car, fill up the gas, and then walk back to his car. And I assume that he is stopping anytime he sees an abandoned vehicle and filling up his gas tank as much as he can so that the running out of gas is limited to just on very rare circumstances. I also kept thinking the others would, by helicopter, put a car with gas on the road without him knowing it, so to make things easier for him. But I guess they're worried they don't want to go against his wishes. I don't know.
Yeah.
Another side note, the friendly driver that's saying on the truck, hey, maybe you want some drinks. If you're trying to go to New Mexico, we can get you there tonight. I assume you're driving to Carroll. That was a stunt driver because they had to have a stunt driver because they're actually on the road. This is not fake driving like you often have. They say you have a car on a trailer and you're driving and the trailer is doing it. This was actually a car. There were 4 of them and and so they had to give a stunt driver, and this guy, they had all the stunt drivers and he was the most friendly. They said this personality was really what he was like. Oh, hello, my friend. Do you want some water? Hey.
That's awesome.
And, you're going, I thought Carol was stubborn. This guy is even worse. And you're going through all these different feelings, and I'm genius. Obviously, he got the map so he could, and I meant to mention that last week. We were like, yeah, he got the maps because that's what he's going to use to drive. It is impossible to drive from wherever he was to the United States because there is a section that is, I guess you could go another way, but that is a true area where it is so wild you can't build a road. And so basically, Lou, what they talk about is there's snakes, there is dangers, there are these trees with big spikes that are filled with bacteria. It is unshaky ground. There is no water. There is no food. People look at this, all these things scattered on the road. This is what people have dropped because they can't carry it anymore. You will die if you take this path.
Yep.
Please let us take you. and we'll even take your car because we know how much this car means to you. And that's when he says, F you, F your help, and F my car.
Yep.
By the way, that wasn't CGI. That was actually they burned the car. And
Oh,
the actor said he was so sad because
I
he
would be
loved that
too.
car. Then I'll let you guys talk. But the other thing that is genius is he doesn't speak English, the character. So we talked last time, we Googled, like, this is going to take months for him to go. And they showed that it's been like 60, 90 days of Carol's life. So by him doing the English language, that he has at least gotten a smattering of English. He's got it. And also, he has his own Princess Bride. My name is
Inigo
Antonio.
Montoya,
Yeah,
you killed my
my
father. Yeah.
father, prepare to die. He has gotten
Yeah.
his version. I don't want to be about this. So I love the pacing of this. I love how they show him eating and trying, like the rain capturing on a can so he could water. He is so self-sufficient. I am curious what him and Carol are going to be as Carol. Yeah, why don't we just ask them to bring something? He's,
Mhm.
oh no. So I finished talking, but I love this.
Yeah. You summed up the subtitles perfectly, so I'm
Okay.
not gonna add to that. I loved that he was like, I don't care about the car. I don't care. You bringing up this point, you don't know me. You don't know my life.
And you
It
own
was,
nothing. You own
yep,
nothing of this world. None
that's
of it
right.
is yours.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That he says that whatever you give me, it's going to be stolen because nothing belongs to you. That's one of the things he says to that
Mm.
group.
And that's why he keeps dropping off money.
That's why he doesn't want to eat the food. That's why he doesn't want to take any because it's all stolen. And it shows also that he has very strong principles on right and wrong. And I'm so sad they burned that car. That's my little side note. But yeah, this episode, crazy good. And I love quiet episodes. I know I said this last week. I love quiet episodes that give you information. And so this was the epitome of a quiet episode that gives you information. For me, there were literally like 7 people in this episode total, or 8. I don't remember how many. It was very few people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9. Sorry, 9. And that's counting the villagers. I adored that. I love that she wins on the lottery and she's so happy that she wins money, which doesn't mean anything. It's so good. So I can't wait to get into this.
Awesome. I'm really glad you guys explained the subtitles to me because I was trying to figure out like what are these things with spikes in them? Is this some sort of lost tribe or something like that? Like it didn't make any sense to me, but now that you've said that they explained that,
It's called a chunga palm tree
okay,
for
I've never
future
heard of it
reference.
or seen it before.
Me
And
either.
the needles looked like they were nails. Like they
Yeah,
were like, wow.
crazy.
Yeah, crazy. But yeah, so Manousos is a very interesting character. And as Jesse mentioned, I especially love the fact that he was learning English off of those tapes. I think that was fantastic because, like we said, how's he going to talk? How are they going to talk to each other? And I'm really sad that I missed the fact that he said that everything that you have is stolen because I
Yeah.
think that is a very powerful line. And I'm glad that they did that. Now, I mentioned off air before we started this episode that I've seen on the internet some portions of the viewing public are getting a little restless with the series because of the pacing. Now, I know we've made references to, and this even in this episode, Karen just did, that we like the pacing of this episode, the non-visual aspect of it, because it allows moments to breathe and allows us to get in comfortable with the character's mindset. And I can understand that point of view, and to a certain extent, I agree with it because, as you all know, I'm a big Stephen King fan, and he's been accused of meandering with his book sometimes too. But it's those meanderings that I think distinguish him as a great writer because to me, the stuff he writes about his characters is always interesting. The thing here is that, like with reading, you can control the pace. Like obviously, Karen can read a book in a day, whereas me
Stop
take
it
me
now.
a couple of weeks. but we're still controlling the pace. When I was younger and I was really into a book, I would read it overnight or in 2 or 3 days, which was pretty quick, I thought. Now I tend to do it in a more leisurely pace, so a book could take me a couple of weeks now. But and with Vince Gilligan's background of with no Breaking Bad and that leisurely pace can work with a crime thriller type story because I think it helps build the tension because you're watching scenes and you go, oh my God, if he doesn't hurry up, this is going to happen or that's going to happen, or if this other person finds out this, so you got all this going through your mind. But with this type of story, I think his style is a little bit in conflict because invasion stories usually happen over a very quick timeline. And this one, like we're talking months here, maybe years at the pace the show's going before it gets resolved. And that's sort of antithetical to invasion storylines because we're conditioned to having a quick turnaround in the storyline, and that's obviously not going to happen with this show. So that may be part of the reason, or that may be the reason why a lot of people, or some people, are getting a little frustrated with the pacing of the show because they want to get to that. They want that conflict. They want that head-to-head meeting between the hive mind and the independent people. And that's not going to happen very quickly, obviously. The show is operating on a different premise, and I think that Gilligan is trying to undermine or subvert the invasion genre. The way that may work for some people, may not, and that's less subjective. I can't say that I'm getting impatient yet, but I could do with a little bit of a quicker pace. This episode in particular, you could say there's a lot of repetition of themes that we've already seen in other episodes. The fact that Manousos is being introduced here alleviates that to a certain degree, I think, for me, but for other people, it might not. I'm just curious. I'll start with you, Karen. What are you thinking about the pacing? And can you understand why other people might be starting to get frustrated with that?
I completely understand. I mentioned in our other conversation today that we have learned how to watch TV to discuss it. I
Mhm.
think that's missing in today's world because there's so much content that you want to just get it as soon as you can. I personally really enjoy being able to digest each part of a story, and
Yeah,
that
I would add to what you're saying is that a lot of the content that's being created today is designed to be fast paced and quick moving.
correct. Yeah, it's designed to be absorbed in that
I mean,
fashion.
I just think back to TV shows in the 70s, like the Rockford Files. We would get long scenes where he would just get in his car and drive to the other
Mm,
place, and they would show all of that. Now we just
yep.
go, he gets in the car, he gets out of the car, the
Yeah.
story moves on.
Yeah.
So it's quite a different change of pace.
Yeah,
And I would say,
go
go
ahead. I'm
ahead.
sorry. I was talking, you said it perfectly, Lou. I remember hearing a writer's podcast and they were talking about Barnaby Jones, where that exact same scene, like you showed them pulling up and he's walking to the door and there's no dialogue.
Yeah,
It just like now when you see them walking to a door, there's always dialogue. We got to move the plot, move the plot.
yeah.
And yeah, I think this is really genius that we're going to let this breathe.
Yeah. I would mention another show that is hitting right now is the first part of the last season of Stranger Things. And even Stranger Things being a similar genre,
Mhm.
right? It is click, click, it's going.
Yep.
And it's made for that. And I think that's part of why it has become the phenomenon that it is because people can take it in so quickly.
And even there, in the first 4 episodes, people were complaining that it was taking a while to get going. I thought, but this show is really moving. Like, what's
Yeah,
going
it's not taking long to get going.
Yeah.
And I see where people are anticipating it. They're complaining that they don't get it all in one lump.
Yeah.
This was not a thing growing up. Not a thing for me. I have been so used to shows that not only take time to tell its story, but also spread out. I also have fallen into the trap of saying, why can't we get it all at once? But for those series, there's so much content out there that I can put those off and watch them once they're all released. There are series that I'm like, okay, I don't need to watch this the same time as everyone else. I can just
Yeah.
wait for it all to be done to
Yeah, that's
watch it.
another great point. Streaming has changed viewing habits too, because if typically you get all the episodes at once, you can just zip right through it. Now,
Sure.
Pluribus is doing the weekly release, the old school.
Yep.
So it's six of one, half a dozen of the other kind of
Right.
situation.
Yeah, I think that's part of the impatience with this is that
Yeah.
it is releasing one a week. They did that with Severance as well, and we saw those complaints with that as well. I'm not getting it all in one lump. Yeah, I love that Vince Gilligan is not falling into that trap. He is telling the story the way he wants to tell it. Who cares what people think, essentially. It's fantastic. I love the pace that it's going. I am feeling a little tenser at the end of each episode, though, where I'm like, okay, where's more? Just a little tenser. But again, that's a throwback to when we used to watch TV back in the day. There were cliffhangers. And so we get that kind of frustration, but also exhilaration when we get it finally, when we get that resolution at the end. And it really does pay off. And I would love to send the people that are saying this in a time machine back to the 90s or the 80s and have them see what it was like and to say, look, you're getting it good right now. Because not only did we have to wait on stuff, there wasn't streaming, we couldn't rewatch something unless we taped it on a VHS tape. We couldn't watch it three times before the next episode to
Yeah.
digest everything.
Yeah.
And we had to go up on the roof and move
Yeah.
the antenna around.
Yeah. It's the age
I,
of instant gratification.
Yes.
yeah. And I'm sad that
I mean,
the people that are,
yeah,
go
it's a
ahead.
dual-edged sword. It's great that we can have anything we want when we want it. But
Sure.
on the other hand, it diminishes your appreciation for the creation of the thing in the first place.
If you're thrown 1,000 things
Yeah.
at one time, picking out the thing that is quality is much more difficult.
Yeah.
So,
The
And
only negative I can really see with the current landscape is this time between seasons.
yes,
It's
that
2 to 3 years is ridiculous. Even with the old shows, like they did 26 episodes a year and they had a summer break and they were back on in September. Now,
yeah,
maybe
every
you could
fall.
argue, yeah,
yep.
you could make the argument that tended to hurt the quality of the show as it went on, but it's really tough to wait 2, 3 years like Severance. Like the wait between those two seasons was
It's
painful.
agonizing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
And we're
other
going to get that with this too.
yeah,
Yeah.
the other downside was I turn in my old man is like last night it was 9 o'clock and I'm going
It's 9 o'clock every night,
yeah,
Jesse.
yeah. It's 9 o'clock last night. I'm looking at the TV. I'm like, what do I want to start something? Do I want to start something? And I had just finished season 2 of Nobody Wants
Mhm.
This. And one of the nice things about when you're binging a series, you're like, I know immediately where I'm going next. But then
Mhm.
you figure out, okay, I have all these open things available to me and I get decision paralyzing. What do I go now? What do I go next now? And that is first world problems. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I love that we're doing this once a week so that I can have a little date night with my husband to
yeah,
watch The Expanse. And I haven't gotten him into Pluribus yet, but I'm going to. I'm determined.
All right. Very
yeah,
good. Okay. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the overall reception of the show because that's always an interesting time capsule as well. So let's talk about, since Jesse asked for this, let's talk about the last scene then of the episode, Jesse, with Carol and
yeah.
Zosia.
So be careful what you wish for. She's got everything she wants now, including she has her sprouts, so she gets to get her food. What I think is interesting is they haven't addressed, I assume either she had a drinking problem or
Yes, they mentioned that in the first episode.
right, no, but they haven't addressed it since.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like that, I assume she had a DWI or something, so that's why she had the breathalyzer. So they haven't discussed this. So now then she's drinking. And I thought once again, a really well done scene when one of the bottle rockets twisted and is aimed at her and she just doesn't care.
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
just lets
Yeah, I
it.
forgot that moment. That
Yeah,
very
like
powerful.
if it hits her, I have nothing to live for. And I
Yeah.
think we still have to, she is slowly getting past her grief, but she is mourning the love of her life. So she's lost her life and she's lost her wife. And then she does decide to save the house, right? She gets the hose and doing everything. And notice she didn't say, I'm sorry, but that's
Yeah.
implied. Like when I saw her getting the paint, I said, is she going to type, I'm sorry? That's what I thought she was painting. And I think they're being very kind to her by not making her say out loud. And this is such a I thought it was just a powerful scene, right? Where she paints this and she comes back, pirate girl, pirate
Mhm.
lady, and just stares at her and start walking, and then Carol just losing it in her arms and
Hmm.
just sour. It is just, I was thinking this Simon and Garfunkel, I am a rock, I am an
Mhm.
island, and a rock
Yep.
feels no pain. She just is this, and they're there to comfort her. Great ending. And I just love this. And if we go, and then I also would love you guys' thoughts on when Manouso falls down and he has his hand up blocking the sun. They could also say, okay, he raised his hand for
Yep.
help.
Yep.
He raised his hand for help, and they're going to go. So I think this is just brilliant because by spending the time, Carol's been able to find out she's lonely and open to companionship. He's learned English. And so I think I agree with you. If I had a theory, the season will end with them meeting each other. And where do we go from here? But I just wanted to hear your thoughts. That emotional, where she is just hiccup tears
Yep.
of in her arms.
Yeah.
Let me mention that this is just after Carol has set off a firework that was pointed directly at her, but it missed.
Yeah,
So there's a thought there of, if I go, no big deal. But she is incredibly relieved when it doesn't happen. That's something that happens with people who try to commit suicide and fail, that they realize that life is worth living.
yeah,
And I think that is part of why she decides to give in and make Zosia come back. We do have that mirror with Manousos where he is very close to death and he raises his hand. And again, I agree with you. It's to block out the sun. It's not in his eyes, but they do take it as come and get me, the white flag kind of thing.
yeah,
So those scenes where Carol almost dies and he almost dies are very apparent, I think, in this episode that they're comparing the two people to that. He doesn't want to die. He's very adamant that he wants to cauterize those wounds, that he wants to survive. And Carol ends up feeling that as well. And they both have a moment of, if I'm here, I might as well throw in. He is not up to that. He is, okay, they're going to get me, whatever. He doesn't have a huge choice, but I think there's part of him that is relieved that they're coming to save him because he does want to survive. And this is the only way that's going to happen. Yeah, I was really touched when Zosia showed back up and Carol ran to her and almost knocked her over, hugging and crying.
mm,
And that says something. It really does, because she doesn't want to have contact with them, really, but
yeah.
she needs something. So it was a great way to end the episode.
Yeah, I think it's important to realize that what the show is showing in that scene is that it doesn't matter how independent a person is or how they keep to themselves. You can't divorce a person from people. You need to have connections with other people because that's the things that gives your life meaning. If you don't have that, you're not really living, you're just existing.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that they showed that. I'm wondering, and here's a question for both of you. Do you think that all the others are back, or is it just that they just sent Zosia on her own? And does it make a difference?
I think it makes a difference, but I'm not sure. I assume it doesn't matter to them whether she's the only one back or not. They're all back. If she's part of the hive, as you have asked, if she's part of the hive, then they're all back.
Okay.
So it doesn't make a difference to them.
Right.
The reason I assume she's part of the hive is because she shows up when the come here is written on the ground.
If she's in the same position as Carol, and they tell her that Carol wants her to come, then maybe
Sure,
she wants to talk to another person that's not part
sure.
of the hive mind.
It's
So
true.
that I know I'm pushing it. I'm pushing it.
No.
I just think the show would be more interesting if Zosia was broken off from the hive mind, but we'll
Yeah,
see.
me too. It's viable. Yeah.
Yeah. My feeling is, and I may be making this too simple, but she is still part of the hive, and they have sent her to talk to Carol to see where her mindset is. Are you are you going to behave? Are you really sorry? Like, before we come back, we got to come up with some rules. This is a olive branch, and they're going to see where she's going to go from there. And I also think that they might just totally feel her pain. And since we know they can't stand pain, they won't even, by the way, I still am having trouble with they can't even pick an apple and
Too.
pick up lettuce when the plants are made to do that.
Yeah.
That it's perfectly normal to take green beans off a thing, but we'll worry about that later.
Don't scream when you pick them.
Yeah, and like, also, don't you manufacture tofu? Isn't that isn't a manufactured food, so couldn't you make soy? No, see, you're using soy and you're not
Right.
supposed to.
Soy's a
Yes,
plant.
anyway, I think that's what this is for. They are sending a representative, like, are you really good? And go from there.
Okay. Very interesting. Hopefully we'll get the answers to that next episode.
Yes.
Can I mention the title?
Of the next episode?
No, of this episode, The
Oh,
Gap.
yes.
Apparently, there were different meanings to it. Obviously, that's how it's been going. But the gap between Carol and the others,
Yes.
the Darien Gap, which is the place that Manousos ends up getting injured in, that's called the Darien Gap
Oh, okay.
at the Panama-Colombia border. And also, there's a time skip at the end of the episode, and the very small distance between Carol's face and the firework that almost kills her. I wanted to know, Jesse, do they mention any meanings of the title in the podcast?
I do not think they did.
Because I would
Uh,
also like to know if it refers to mind the gap, because mind being a big part of this series, the brain, the mind.
yeah,
I thought that would be interesting as well. But
yeah,
I love that there's meanings, huge meanings in titles,
yeah.
because we've seen episodes of other shows that don't mean anything.
Yeah,
So
there is nothing in this series, I think, that is done lightly. I believe that, because, if once again, you've said this multiple times, both of you, that certain shows teach you how to watch it. Like, one of the complaints people had about Lost is that they taught us that everything means something, and then every once in a while, like the little toy plane, yeah, that didn't mean anything. But wait a minute, you taught
it
us, like,
did.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
The numbers.
Yeah, I like that this show. And yeah, I think sometimes, and it's good to have something that takes you, that you can't. Chris talks about one of the things he loves is, we have Einstein's Bagels, is a chain of bagels,
Mm.
and it's here in Dallas, and they do a frozen blended coffee. It's basically a coffee milkshake. And Linda and Chris says it took them longer to make it than it did for me to drink it. Yeah, sometimes I was so hungry that I grab through that sandwich faster than it took them to make it.
Yeah.
And it is nice sometimes where, no, I have to savor this because I can't just next.
Yeah. You have to
And
keep
there's
it
a
like,
beauty
treat it
to
like
that.
a wine, just sip it.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly. And I love that.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Sorry for the diversion there.
No, it's
No,
cool.
no.
That's all good. Anything else you wanted to add, Karen, Jesse?
Yeah, I love once again, and I'm going to repeat myself, but I was sitting there going, okay, are they going to cheat? This is going to take forever. And then with the idea of showing the days,
Yeah.
it shows that you're right. This is absolutely, it has taken that long. And the reason why is that, it takes him that long. So really wonderful. I'm so glad we did this show, that it is a joy because I get to watch it and enjoy the story and also know that, oh boy, we get to talk about and things we've brought up. It's just wonderful. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Very
would have
cool.
watched it anyway, but I love that it's something that we get to talk about, like with
Yes.
Severance
Absolutely.
and that sort of
Absolutely.
thing.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah, I do want to mention I love the Inigo Montoya reference you made. It's a trope
Yeah.
that they've picked up on, and it's almost the exact cadence as well.
Yeah.
He says, "My name is Manousos Oviedo. I am not one of them. I wish to save the world," which I love.
Yeah.
I
And
wish to save the world, but it also shows that there's a difference between him and Carol. Carol isn't saving the world. She wants to save humanity. And I think he does too, but he's saying, I want to save the world. It's a little different viewpoint, but
yeah, I agree. It is so complex and so well done that I think they're going to make it's going to be a really good team. And Vince Gilligan was on the ESPN. Oh, crap. I can't think of the sportscaster now. It's not Pat McAfee, but I'll think of it in a minute. But he was on a TV show, and the as he was talking to, let me look it up here real quick. Rich Eisen. He's talking to Rich Eisen.
Rich Eisen.
And he said, I'm curious to know, are people on Carol's side, or do they think the world is better?
Yeah.
Because he says it's not my place to decide which is a better world. Would you give up individuality to have everything? And I think that's, once again, it's not a simple question and very fun. He also said that at the very end of the episode, they said, where do you think some of your previous characters have been? And so they started naming characters. And he said that Jimmy or Saul was pardoned by Trump and is now free.
Oh boy. Yeah.
So, yeah.
All I can say is how much I
That's funny.
love this show. I love
That's
the
funny.
Vince Gilligan isms in this. It's so great. I highly recommend going to TV Tropes and looking up each episode after you watch it. It
okay.
is so fun to see and there is a lot of tropes and also tropes that are subverted. They mention those as well.
Yeah.
But it's so fantastic. I highly recommend it. And to look up the soundtrack of each episode because he has used quite a few interesting songs in this.
Perfect.
So good.
Alrighty. So that brings us to the end of episode 7. And that means that next week's episode is the penultimate episode, Charm Offensive. And that sounds like a very interesting title. I think Carol's going to be changing her manner of interactions with the others, and that should bring some interesting results. But we'll have to see how that plays out.
Would you like the description real quick?
No, I've read it.
Oh, okay.
But I also am very interested to see exactly where Zosia stands. So hopefully we'll get that answered next week as well.
Me too.
But you guys are probably right. I'm just hoping that it's something
Who
else.
knows?
Yeah. Anywho, Jesse, if people want to reach out and find out more about you and what you do, where should they go?
I am at Jesse Jackson DFW on Twitter and X and Blue Sky and all the other Jesse Jackson on Facebook. You can hear me talk every week on Set Listing Bruce, a Bruce Springsteen fan podcast where I talk to people from around the world about their favorite musicians. I am wrapping up the year, but I'm booking new guests in January or February. So if you want to join me, setlistingbruce@gmail.com. I would love to have you as a guest. Next stop everywhere, we are continuing to, Charles and I talk Doctor Who. And coming up in January, the Small Council is coming back, and we will be covering Knights of the Seven Kingdom, which is the latest Game of Thrones spinoff. And Lou used to be part of that. So it's a fun group where we talk Game of Thrones. And I'll be, as we get close to that, I'll be giving how you can find it.
Cool. Karen.
Excellent. I am at Aliveria on social media, Aleveria. My blog is alistuff.com. And you can email us for this series of podcasts, the Pluribus, the Expanse, and all our other one-offs at jklmediareviews@gmail.com.
Awesome. And social media, you can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Lou W. Sitzma, SYTSMA. You can also find me on this YouTube channel, JKL Media Reviews, where we were doing Pluribus and The Expanse right now. We've also done a ton of other stuff, usually one-offs. We also did the 12 Monkeys TV series, which I highly recommend. A fantastic series for just really good writing, plus the acting as well. But it just shows you how you can make storylines work if you do the proper setup in the writing to do major character swings. So a great series to watch. A lot of Springsteen stuff on there, a little bit of Stephen King, some comic books like The Watchmen and the TV show as well. Then on my home channel, Lou's Reviews, I have the writers interview podcast that I do, as well as the Stephen King podcast. And we just recently did an episode with me, Jesse, Karen, and Lilia from Lilia's Library, and we talked about Stephen King in 2025. So that was a fun episode. So check that one out. And that covers everything. So with that,
They're all bangers. That's
Yeah,
all I
they
can say.
are. And I especially loved the Stephen King wrap up. If you're a fan of Stephen King, that's a good place to start. One thing we didn't mention that is just purely me saying, gosh, Carol looked great when she was dressed up. She just really, I just thought that was hilarious that she wanted to dress up and have all that. And she did say, got to give them credit. They know how to cook.
Yeah,
And so
that I couldn't resist using that for the thumbnail artwork
Yes.
this week.
awesome.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're looking at going, they had to be close enough where she wouldn't see them, but enough to get the food warm and stuff. So that
Yeah.
was a nice point.
Yes. Very true. All right, folks, with that, let's say bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And scene.
And that wraps up another episode of the JKL Media Podcast. Whether you're a longtime fan or just discovered the podcast, we hope today's conversation sparked some reflection, curiosity, or even a rewatch. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs a little more joy in their life. You can find us on all major platforms. Until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and keep the story going.